Hi, it's Penny here, and in this video we're going to be putting together my TBR for the month of November. And as usual, I will be using the TBR machine website I made that spits out random reading prompts to pick the books for the TBR. I'm also going to be trying to make a realistic TBR, which lately I've been doing by having like a page number count. So I'm aiming for 1,500 physical book pages, 500 digital pages, and then about 50 hours of audiobooks. That's the targets that we're aiming for. Also, we're getting towards the end of the year, so I'm looking at all my reading goals and prioritizing a little bit. Mainly, I want to try and prioritize a bunch of rereads that I want to do. Of course, they're on the floor. So I think rereads are going to be my top priority, but I'm also still thinking about 2025 new releases and like series continuations. But anyway, let's get into picking the books. So I've got the TBR machine. So let's pick the first prompt. We have pick a book off your TBR with your eyes closed. Okay, so I'm going to pick one of these rereads that I want to read. I think that's the best option. How do I do it with my eyes closed without cheating? Or like, I don't know, like I'll close my eyes, we'll shuffle some books around. I'll put them in front of me like this, and we'll point at this one. Oh, good. So this is both a reread and a series continuation. This is Infidel by Cameron Hurley. I read God's War in October, and actually I loved it way more than I thought I was going to. Originally, when I read it 10 years ago, I only gave it 3 stars, but on a reread, I actually gave it 5 stars, and I'm really looking forward to this. So this is the second book in the series. We're following this woman named Nyx, who is a bounty hunter in this world that's kind of torn apart by war, or these 2 countries who are at war, and we're just following a lot of people who have been really traumatized by this ongoing war. Also, bees all over the cover because the technology is all like bug based. And Nyx herself is kind of a screw up, but also I love her and I'm really looking forward to spending some more time with her. So this is 388 pages. So we will put that on the physical book quota, and then we will pick another prompt. We have read a book released in 2019. I really need to update some of these prompts. I know that when I made this prompt, it was because it was like 2020 or something, and 2019 was like the year before. So actually, if I can't find anything from 2019 that I want to read, maybe I could make the argument to read something from 2024, because I know that was like the intention of the prompt when I made it. And honestly, I think all the other reread things I have here in the pile are like quite old books. Well, they're all rereads from, I read them 10 years ago, so of course they're going to be older than 2019. What else do I have? Perfect. Well, is it perfect? Perfect, but not perfect? Okay, so the way in which it could be perfect is I do have The Raven Tower by Anne Leckie out from the library, and I was going to try and fit this into the last days of October, but this is 405 pages, and there's only 2 days left of October, 2.5 days, and I'm actually reading something else. I'm not even reading this, so chances are it's not going to happen. But I do really want to read this because it's a 5-star prediction, even though I don't know that much about it, other than I really love some things by Anne Leckie, and it's something about gods. I'm slightly worried if I put this on the TBR, I'm not going to have room for a lot of other things I wanted to read, but also I did really want to read this anyway, so I guess whatever. Let's put this on the TBR. It was published 2019, or at least that's what Goodreads said. What does the book say? 2019. Okay, we'll put that on the TBR. So that will be physical page quota. And that puts us at 800 pages already, which is like over halfway. For physical pages, halfway. Anyway, whatever, let's pick another book. We have read a book by an author you haven't read anything from before. Once again, clearly, that won't be any of my rereads that I was hoping to get on the list. And actually, I think everything on my list, like my list of possibilities that I have in front of me, is mostly authors I've read from before. What I think I'm going to pick, because it's front of mind, because I was just watching a video about Elliot Brooks where she mentioned Green Teeth by Molly Green? That can't be right. Molly O'Neill. And this is some kind of like monster, horror, fantasy, maybe leaning more fantasy. To be honest, everything I've heard about it make me think it's not going to be like creepy creature enough. I was really wanting it to be a little bit like someone you can build a nest in. I think it's not that, but it is also still getting really good reviews. And I did also want to read this for the Reddit fantasy bingo board because it's a new release that's also a debut. And I'm going to read it on audiobook. So it's only like 11 hours I've written down. So that's not too bad. Doesn't take up too much of the quota. And I think I might like it, maybe. I guess we'll see. Okay, so let's pick another prompt. We have read the next book in a series you have started but not finished. Okay, what's the best one for me to actually pick? I guess technically with the phrasing, it doesn't count a reread because even though it's one I've recently restarted, I have finished it in the past. Am I getting too logical about this? Maybe. But anyway, what I will go with, there's still another 2 options. I think the one I most want to get on the TBR is Den of Wolves by Juliette Marillier. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Blackthorn and Grimm series. I did actually find out recently that Juliette Marillier had proposed to her publisher that she could write some more books in this series, which, okay, I was not paying attention and my memory card ran out of space, but Den of Wolves by Juliette Marillier. We're following this woman named Blackthorn, who initially we meet her when she's in prison, but she makes a deal with the Fae that helps her to escape. The deal is basically that whenever anyone asks her for help, she has to give it freely for the next 7 years. Even though Blackthorn actually really wanted to go off and get revenge for the things that had led her to be in prison. As well, when she escapes from prison, there's this other guy, Grimm, that comes along with her, and it's such a slow burn romance, which is my perfect kind of romance where it's really just about 2 people like working together and trusting each other. But also, so far at least, the first 2 books has been kind of a magical mystery that they've been working out. I'm super excited. I'm sure I'm going to love it. And it is a 16.5-hour audiobook. 16 and a third? I can't tell from what I've written down, but I think that puts us at just over halfway of our audiobook quota, so still room for at least another audiobook. But let's see what the next prompt is. We have read the shortest book on your TBR. I'm going to go with the TBR that's right in front of me, but also it probably is one of the shortest. Oh, I just thought of another one actually. Am I going to get hung up on the word book? I think so. Anyway, what I'm going to do is reread Burn by J.C. Hart. This is a New Zealand author, and it's the Maiden Mother Crone trilogy, but the whole trilogy is in here because it was kind of like a trilogy of short stories where we follow 3 characters kind of fulfilling each of the roles, Maiden, Mother, and Crone. And I really love this. When I first got this, I stayed up all night reading it. It is only 86 pages, so it won't put the physical book quota up too much, and it should be a really quick read. I know I really liked it the first time, so hopefully I will this time as well. Okay, let's pick another prompt. We have read a hyped book that everyone has been saying is great. Okay, what I'm going to pick is The Strength of the Few by James Islington. Nope, still can't make my brain remember which way that goes. I keep trying to put a trick in my head about which way it goes, and then I can never remember what trick I was trying to use. Regardless, this is the sequel to The Will of the Many, which I did read earlier in the year. I think it was released last year. And it's a fantasy series where the magic is based on hierarchy. So basically everyone has a certain amount of will, but they can cede it to their superiors. And so the whole system is based on like a pyramid, and the higher up you are in the system, the more people are kind of giving their will to you and the more powerful you are. Our main character kind of hates the whole system, but has ended up going to this school and kind of being embroiled in a bunch of politics and scheming. I was surprised. I didn't love the first book as much as a lot of people did. It's super hyped, but I did enjoy it, and there were definitely some bits, especially the very ending, that made me intrigued for the next book. So The Strength of the Few, again, it's not being released until the 11th of November, but I was thinking I would try and pick up the audiobook. And even though it hasn't been released yet, there's been lots of early readers saying that they're loving it, and I know a lot of people are hyped to read it, so I want to read it too. The audiobook is 15.5 hours, I think. Because it hasn't been released yet, I couldn't just see the number clearly, but I'm pretty sure, which would put us up to about 43 hours on the audiobook quota. So I'm not sure we'll fit another book in or not. That might be it for audiobooks, but we've still got digital and physical quota. So let's pick another prompt. We have read a book with blue on the cover. Oh no. Is this blue or purple? Oh, actually I have a better... Okay, what I'm going to go with is January's by Oliver Blake. Not the whole book though, but there's definitely blue on the cover. For this, what I've been doing, because it's a short story anthology with 12 stories, and it's basically each part of the book is aligned with seasons. So starting in spring, because that's where the book started, I've been reading one short story a month, although actually rereading, because I did already read this, but I just find with short story anthologies, if I read them like all in a rush, I don't enjoy the stories as much. It's better if I spread them out. So that's what I'm trying to do with this, and like enjoy each of the stories like quite individually and separate. Anyway, it's worked well for the first two stories. I'm up to the third story, which is called Sucker for Pain. And even though I have already read it, I don't really remember what it's about. So I guess I'll find out. I think it's 42 pages long, so not too long, which is good for our page quota. Although we're already up to 932 pages, which I guess 2/3 of the way. We've still got room for more. So let's pick another prompt. We have, another color one. Read a book with yellow on the cover. Okay, what I really wanted to get on the TBR was Wraith by Philippa Ballantyne, because this is a reread of a series that I've already started. So this is the third book in the Book of the Order series. It's kind of a fantasy novel all about this world where ghosts will come through from the other side, and we're following a couple of characters whose job is to like send ghosts back to the other side, but they've also fallen into kind of a bunch of political conspiracy that's also involving a lot of these like ghosts on the other side and the religions of the world, and there's a lot going on. I'm really actually enjoying it. There are some problems with the writing. It's not quite as great as I would love, but I do like the story, and it's better than I thought it might be. So we'll put that onto the physical book quota, which will put us at 1,241 pages, which really only gives us about 250 more to work with. Maybe I can do something with that. Okay, let us pick another prompt. We have read a sad book. The one I have in front of me is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. So I'm going to argue that this is very sad, because we start out following the last unicorn, and she didn't know she was the last, and she hears some people talking about how there's no unicorns left in the world, and she's like, am I the last? I do really love this book, but I also, when I was about 5 or 6, went and saw the movie, and I love the movie. So actually rereading this is probably a reminder to rewatch the movie. And there are some like terribly sad parts of this. Basically, this unicorn ends up traveling with a couple of other characters and looking for the rest of the unicorns, and hearing this rumor that the Red Bull has chased them all into the sea. The back says the unicorn learns all about the joys and sorrows of life. Sorrow is sadness, so it fits the prompt. But this is 294 pages, which pretty much gets us to 1,535, so like slightly over my physical book quota. So that's it. So I just need really at this point a digital book, like an ebook for me to read when I want to read with the lights off, and physical books aren't cutting it. So let's pick another prompt. We have read a book borrowed from the library. Okay, let's look at my list of library books. I think on my library book hold list, the one that I would most like to get to the soonest is The Witch Roads by Kate Elliott. So I've read a few things by Kate Elliott in the past, but mostly her like much older stuff, whereas this is her newest series, and I wanted to kind of read it to see how her writing style has changed. I think her older works I often struggled a little bit, found her writing a bit dense. So kind of before I went back and read any of her other backlist books, I wanted to read her newer stuff and see, is it still like that? Or has she evolved? I don't know. I think The Witch Roads is something about this prince has to go somewhere dangerous, and he gets this woman, to help him, but he's still really arrogant, even though he's dependent on her to help him. That could be completely wrong, but still, I do want to read this. It is 437 pages, so that does pretty much take up my whole digital ebook reading quota. I do wonder, reading a book over a whole month, I know that's something a lot of people do, but I do wonder if that will be too stretched out for me and I'll end up getting annoyed with it. I guess we'll see. Anyway, should I try and spin another prompt and come up with a really short audiobook to fit in my little bit of audiobook quota? Let's spin, or let's generate one more prompt, and if we can come up with a short audiobook for it, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll stop. Okay, so the next prompt is read a book that has a number in the title. I'm almost certain that I cannot find any that I actually want to read. Okay, it's a little bit long, but I think I'm going to do it anyway because I can fulfill the prompt and I'm very surprised. I found on my TBR, or my Goodreads Want to Read list, The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. I actually don't remember putting it on the list, but I guess I put it on after I read, what was that book called? The River, something about the river. The River... Once Upon a River. I read that and I actually quite enjoyed it, especially as an audiobook. And I know a lot of people say The 13th Tale is even better. I don't actually know what it's about. Some kind of abandoned house hiding a chilling secret and somebody is investigating. I don't know, but we'll put it on the TBR, but it's right at the end, so I'll get to it if I get to it, I guess. If I don't, maybe I won't. So, where did we get to with our TBR? I guess this is my physical book TBR, although this, I'm only reading one short story from it. I'm nearly dropping it on the ground already. Given especially that I might start this a day or two early, I think this is pretty doable. Then in terms of audiobooks, I've got 4. As I said, it's probably maybe a little bit more than I can get to, but we'll see. Sunnier weather is coming, which means I might go out for more runs, so that might mean more reading time, or maybe I'll do some gardening, which will mean more audiobook reading time as well. I guess we'll see. The thing I have been struggling with the most actually lately has been finding time for ebook reading, and I guess this really will be a test for the Witch Roads. I think if I'm really enjoying it, it will pull me into doing more ebook reading. If I'm not, then maybe we won't finish the book, I guess. But one ebook for the whole month really should be doable, just like reading it around the periphery of all my other reading. Anyway, do let me know if you've read any of these books and whether you think I'm going to like them, and of course check back in at the end of the month when I will do my wrap up and say what I thought about them, and I will be vlogging most of my week's reading as well. Also let me know what your reading plans are for November, and just in general how you're prioritizing like your end of year reading. Are you running out of time for all your reading goals like I am? Do subscribe if you'd like to see more of my bookish videos. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.